Hey, what is up guys? It is Card Shuffler 99 here, and today we're going to be revealing for you guys Aaron Krau's performance on America's Got Talent. This is his semi-final stage trick, so we're going to be breaking this down for you guys today. So by the time you leave this video, you should have a general understanding of how this video or how this trick was performed by Aaron Krau. Now, if you haven't seen the video, be sure to check out his performance first. You can always come back here and watch the reveal. Now, we do have a channel giveaway going on. We do monthly giveaways on this channel. For this month, we're giving away 10 decks of cards. So if you win, you will get to select what deck of cards you want. And then we're also giving away $50 of Amazon gift cards. That's going to be 5 $10 Amazon gift cards. To enter the giveaway, just like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment whatever you guys want in the comment section below, whether it's something you like about the reveal, something you like about the trick, something you like about our channel, anything along those lines will get you guys entered, and make sure you have your post notifications turned on. Alright guys, we do want to give one last special thanks to Amazon. Thanks to Amazon, we have our very own link, amazon.com/shop/cardshuffler99. Link down in the description. If you guys want to check that out, you guys can do that. We have basically a whole page of product recommendations from our favorite decks to some really good deals for playing cards, and then you guys can really just purchase whatever you want off of that link. It is just Amazon, but yeah, be sure to check out that link down in the description. Now, let's get straight into it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to recap about his trick. I'm going to show you guys exactly what he did. So what he's going to do is he's going to start out and he's going to have 4 blocks. And each block he's going to show you is marked with the number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? Now, what he's going to do is he is going to have similar blocks, so boxes on stage labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the judge, Howie Mandel, is actually sitting inside of one of these boxes. So what he's going to do is he's going to have the judges basically select 3 of the sort of like, I guess, blocks you could say. And those are the ones that they're going to chop. Now, this is what I'm going to show you guys, and this is what I'm going to explain, is this is going to use a system or a magic-related, magic-oriented sort of idea, I guess you could say. It's called multiple outs. Now, this is something very, very old. I guess you can kind of simulate this to Magician's Choice. So I'm going to explain this in Magician's Choice and multiple outs. What this means is that he's basically going to narrow each selection down in a way that makes his trick work. So what that means is he knows from the beginning of the trick that Howie Mandel is in box number 2. Now, you might be wondering to yourself, well, he did put all the blocks face down, so the numbers were facing down. How is he supposed to know which one's which? Well, each of the blocks is going to have a marking. Now, the marking could be anywhere. The marking could be on the side of the block facing him so that the judges can see it. It could be a very discreet marking. For example, on the top of the block, it could have just been like a very small dot. It's something to the point where the judges won't be able to look for it. They won't know it's there, so they're not going to look for it. But the blocks essentially are marked, okay? So he's going to know exactly which one is block 1, which is block 2, which is block 3, which is block 4. Now, like I said, with multiple outs, he's going to be able to narrow down the selection to the point where Howie is going to be safe. Now, let's put this into perspective, and let's sort of look at it from the bigger picture here and see what actually happens. So, Heidi first selected box 1, I believe, and then Mel B selected box 3. So box 1 and box 3 were selected first, okay? So the first thing you have to notice here is that right after he takes those 2 selections, box 1 and box 3, he takes those out of the equation, he chops these, so he's going to break these up. Now, he's going to have Simon make a selection. Simon is going to select, at that point, box 2. He selects box 2, but box 2 is not the selection that Aaron Krau is going to chop up. You'll notice he's actually going to chop up box 4, okay? Now, why does he do this? So the reason behind this is because he knows that Howie is in box 2. So once again, let's put this in perspective one more time. The selections that were made were box 1, 2, and 3, correct? So Simon selected box 2, Heidi selected box 1, and Mel B selected box 3. But he only chopped up box 1 and 3. Box 2, even though it was selected, was not chopped up because he knew that Howie was in that box, okay? So That's what you have to understand. Now, what do I mean by multiple outs? Okay, this is a very similar magic oriented system, or basically, for example, let's put it like this. Let's say Mel B or Heidi, whoever the first judge was, selected box 2, okay? What he would do is, knowing that this was box 2 because it's marked, okay? Because it's marked, he's going to essentially say, okay, this is box 2. I need to make sure that this is the selection. So what he's going to do is, let's say box 2, which it wasn't in the trick, but I'm just going to go with it. Let's say this specific box was the one selected first. What he would do is he would take it apart and he would set it aside most likely. He'd say, okay, we're going to keep this for last. And from there, he's open to free selection. Any of these can be selected because all of these could be chopped up, right? Now, obviously, at that point, he would do it more for order, right? So he'd be like, all right, first person selects this one, we're going to chop this first. Second one selects this one, we'll chop that second. But at that point, everybody would know that this is the one that Howie's in, right? He's going to have a different scenario, a different sort of trick, I guess, or a different routine for basically whatever they were to select, right? Now, let's put it in a different way, okay? And he would basically orient the trick in such a way that it would be completely different had they have chosen something different. Let's say they had chosen the second one in, like, second, I guess you could say. So for the first one, they selected 1. Howie's not in this one, right? But let's say the second selection was this specific box, the one that Howie was in. He would come up with some sort of way that would make this work. He's going to make some sort of system. He's going to say something. He's going to do something that's going to say, okay, we're not chopping this one up. He knows exactly which box Howie's in. He knows that this is box 2. This is the one he's got to keep safe. So he would set that apart. He's going to keep this. He's going to set this one apart. And he's going to make sure that this is the one that they're going to chop last. Okay? Now, obviously, once you get to the final 2, that's really open to whatever the trick is. So in this case, what happened was one of them was box 2 and one of them was not box 2. One of them was box 4, I believe, right? So once the first 2 were chopped up, they were eliminated, he was left with 2. No matter which one Simon were to select, okay, whichever one he selected would be the one that he would either chop or not chop, right? So let's say, in this case, Simon put the glasses, he put those on box 2, okay? So he put on box 2, that's the one that Howie's in. Aaron Crow was like, okay, we're chopping the other one. Now, say Simon Cowell put the glasses on box 4, he would have said, okay, we're going to chop box 4. He's using multiple outs. He's using, in this case, once it's down to the final 2, Magician's Choice. So from the beginning of the trick, when you have 4 selections, it's multiple outs. Okay, that's basically the situation where no matter what they select, he's coming up with a different routine, a different trick that makes this work. Now, in this case, luckily, for the first 2, okay, because when you get to the final 2, it's Magician's Choice. That's the easy part. For the first 2, what he most likely wants to happen is for number 2 to be selected first. That way he can set it apart and say, okay, this is going to be Howie, okay? We're assuming that's Howie. That's the first selection. This is the one we're not chopping, right? So that would make it seem reasonable, right? Either that or he wants to make sure that the first 2 selections are not box 2. Now, obviously, say the number 2 selection was box 2. I don't know what he would have done, but there's going to be some sort of routine that he would have in his mind that would make that work. But the most common solutions for this is to make sure that number 2 is selected either first or to make sure that number 2 was selected within the final 2 cards or final 2 boxes. That way the trick sort of flows better, right? Once again, if he were to pick number 2 first, you could set that apart and say, okay, we're going to keep this to the very end. Now let's work with these, right? Let's say number 2 was selected at the end, like in this case it was. He would say, okay, the first 2 we're going to chop up. Once you get to the final 2, that's where Magician's Choice comes into play. Basically, what Magician's Choice is no matter which one they pick, he's going to turn it around. So he's going to say, basically, pick one, right? For example, let's put this into a card trick perspective, right? Let's say this was the spectator's card. The 5 of spades was the spectator's card. And I wanted the spectator to narrow it down to their card. I would say, here, pick one, right? Let's say they said this one. I would say, okay, look, we're going to get rid of that, and we're left with this one. Let's say they said this one. We're going to be like, okay, that was your selection. Boom, it's your card. That's Magician's Choice. It's basically taking 2 selections. Now, obviously, you can't do Magician's Choice with 4 selections. The first 4 is where multiple outs comes into play. Once you're down to 2, it's basically Magician's Choice. So at this point, once again, let's say this was the spectator's card, or this is the one he wants. He's going to say, okay, name one. Let's say he said this one. He's going to say, okay, we're going to get rid of that, so we're left with 1 card, right? Other than that, he could say, pick this one, perfect. That's your selection. Bam, your card. So that's Magician's Choice right there. That's what he used. So once again, for the first 4, it's multiple outs. Once you're down to final 2, it's Magician's Choice. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And anyway, this is Card Shuffler 99. Peace out.